Okay, good morning, dear students. So today I'm going to start with this chapter that is polymers, right? So firstly, we must know about what is a polymer, right? So poly means many and mers means units, right? So when many units combine to form a macromolecule which has high molecular mass, that is known as a polymer. For example, I have taken an example of natural rubber, which is a polymer. So in this, we have isoprene as a monomer. So here I have used N here, right? So N means there are N number of monomers which are participating in the polymerization process of natural rubber, that is a polymer. Okay, so we have many polymers. We use many polymers in our day-to-day life. Let's talk about them. Firstly, in your body, you have DNA, right? That is also an example of a polymer. Starch is also an example of polymer which we get from a plant, a tree. Similarly, cellulose, of which we make a paper, right? Paper is made up of cellulose, as we all know, that we get from a tree, and that is also an example of a polymer. Then we have a rubber, that is also a natural, polymer. Then we have HDPE. These are polymers. Okay. Then we have Teflon. Then we have nylon. Then we have PVC. We have many kind of fabrics. We have many kinds of fibers. We have many kinds of elastomers which we use in our daily lives. So all these are an example. All these are the examples of polymers. Even your body contain polymers, right? So we can say that we are surrounded by many polymers, right? Okay. Now, firstly, we must know about some basic terms of this chapters. For example, let's talk about degree of polymerization. Now, what is degree of polymerization? See, we know that many number of monomers are combined to form a major, macromolecule that is known as polymer. So, the number of monomers which we are combining, right, that is known as degree of polymerization. Means the number of repeating units or number of monomers which are available in a polymer, that is known as a degree of polymerization. For example, I have taken example of polyethyl ethylene here, polythene here, right? So I'm using ethene as a monomer, right? Let's suppose I am using n number of, or let's suppose I am using 10 number of units to uh, make a polymer, right? So it means the degree of polymerization of that polythene will be 10. Okay, here I have taken n number of monomers, so that's why degree of polymerization here is n. Is it clear? So this is the definition for degree of polymerization. Next, we have functionality of polymer. Now, what is functionality of polymer? The number of binding sites or the number of bonding sites present in a monomer is called functionality of a polymer. For example, let's talk about it. In case of production of polythene, we are using ethene as a monomer. So it means if they, we know that polymer is made up by combining of, number of monomers. So it means if there will be the combination, so one monomer will come from this side and one monomer will bind through this side. So we have two binding sites here. So that's why we say there is bifunctionality of ethene monomer. So if they have two binding sites, that will be bifunctional monomer. If they have three binding sites, that will be trifunctional monomer. So that's how it will work. Next, we have classified all the polymers on different bases. Firstly, we have classified them based on origin, right, from which we get that. Then we classified them on based on monomers, right? Then based on structure, based on method of synthesis, based on tacticity or configuration, based on action of heat. So here it is heat, not heat. So I'll correct it due to some mistyping. I'm really sorry for that. Now, next, based on chemical composition, then based on ultimate form. So let's start with based on origin first. Okay, dear students, so we all know that there are two types of polymers. Firstly, we get it from nature, right? Secondly, we prepare it in laboratory. So the polymers which we get or obtain from natural resources, that those are known as natural polymers. Then the polymers which we synthesized in the laboratories, those are known as synthetic polymers. Let's talk about natural polymers. So these are some basic example. For example, let's talk about starch. We get it from plants, right? You are not, producing a plant. That is nature gifted. Protein, that is also natural polymer in your body, right? In your in your hair. So all these things contain these natural polymers. Then cellulose is also we are getting from trees. So this is also an example of natural polymer. Then we have synthetic polymers. Synthetic polymers are the polymers which we synthesized in the laboratory. For example, we are making polythene, we are making PVC pipes, we are making PVC sheets, we have nylon, we have Teflon. So these are some basic examples of synthetic polymers. Understand? Next, let's talk about based on monomer. See, similarly, we know that there are a number of monomers which combine together to form a monomer. Okay. Now, if the monomers have same kind, right? Let's suppose, let me explain it. For example, if I'm talking about a polymer, for example, I'm talking about polythene. So in that polythene, we have just one monomer that is repeating itself, and that is ethene. So when it is A plus A plus A plus A type of polymer, that is known as homopolymer. Homo means same. But when it is A plus B, then A plus B, then it is copolymer, right? Co means we have two kind of monomers here. Okay, so that's how it will work. Okay. So homopolymers are the polymers which contain one type of monomers units. Those are known as homopolymers. For example, I have taken example of polythene. You can also take an example of PVC, in which we have polyvinyl chloride as a monomer. Then we have copolymer. I have taken example of phenol formaldehyde resin. Okay, that is also known as bakelite. It is a cross-linked solid, as you can see. So in this, we have this phenol and this formaldehyde. These will combine to form this product, right? So nylon or any other urea formaldehyde resin. So in which there are more than one type of monomeric unit. Those are known as copolymers. Next, we have classified polymers based on some structures. So firstly, we have linear polymers, then we have branched polymers, then we have cross-linked polymers. So as you can see from these pictures, this is the linear arrangement. So in a series, when they are not combined together, it's just a linear series. So that is known as a linear polymer. When they are there is a chain and they have a side chain too. So that is known as branched polymer. When we have cross-linked polymers, cross-link means this chain's branch will be connected to the other chain, as well as, further it will be like that. So this is network. So linear, you can take an example of polythene. Branch, you can take an example of styrene or anything. Cross-link, you can take an example of bakelite. For network, you can take example of quaternary or tertiary proteins, right? So these are the examples. Next, we have based on method of synthesis. So this is very important. See, there are two types of polymerization. First one is addition and second one is condensation. In case of addition, there is the breakage of double and triple bond, but there will be no elimination of any byproduct. For example, I have taken example of isoprene. As you can see, there will be just a breakage of double and triple bond, and we will get a product here. But if I talk about this condensation polymerization, in this reaction, we will have some byproduct. such as water, ammonia, etc. As you can see from this reaction, so we are getting water here. This is water, right? So there will be a production of byproduct too. There will be, sorry, elimination of byproduct. So this is condensation, polymerization. Okay. Next, I'll explain that, you know, for you. For example, let's talk about addition polymerization. Let's talk about this. Let's suppose I have C and they have double bond, right? They have double bond. Then we have carbon. And here I will have H, right? Here I will have H, right? So suppose where there is nothing, it means there is H. Okay. Now, when it is converted into polythene, what we are getting? There will be the breakage of this double bond. There will be the breakage of this double bond. And that's how we will get this thing. See, C, single bond C, right? Okay. And what we are getting, I'll show this thing with the help of just these lines. Okay, here we have H. Okay, here we have H. Okay, here we have H. Here we have H, and here I'll draw some kind of, you know, brackets. So these brackets shows that number of monomers are combining together to form this polythene. And here I will write down N. So N is degree of polymerization. So this is how addition polymerization is take place, right? But in case of condensation polymerization, you will get a byproduct. There is no byproduct. There is no elimination. There is just addition. Okay. So this is the difference between both of them. So next, let's talk about tacticity or configuration on the basis of configuration or tacticity. So here we have classified them into three other categories, that is iso, then syndio, then tactic. Iso, let us consider it as a same. Okay. So when I have taken example of styrene, you know what is styrene? I'll show you the structure. So when there is a double bond here, that is styrene. Okay. Now, due to addition reaction, there is a breakage of double bond, and you all know that how this polymer will be formed. So in isotactic, all the functional group, as we all know that this benzene is a functional group, aromatic is a functional group. So these all are on same side. So this is an example of isotactic polymers. In syndiotactic, we have these functional group on the alternative sides, right? This is up, this is down, this is up, this is down, this is up, and further it will be down. So that in that case, the configuration is syndiotactic. If I'm talking about atactic, then there will be a random order, random arrangement. So maybe two are, you know, they are arranged in, on upside, and some of them is on downside. Just okay. Next, so I hope you understand it. Next, we will talk about, yes, based on okay, based on action of heat. So this is very important. There are two types of polymers on this basis. So we have thermosetting and thermoplastic. So what are thermosetting plastics? See, the polymers which get once get hardened, they cannot be softened again. You try it hard and hard, it cannot be softened again, right? So it is what it is. Okay. I'm really sorry. Here it should be, yeah. Okay. Here, these are interchanged. Okay. Examples are interchanged by some mistake. I have these examples should be here, and these examples should be here. Okay. So, okay, fine. So thermosettings are the polymers which ones get hardened, cannot be softened again, right? These cannot be remolded again. For example, bakelite, we have vulcanized rubber, etc. So these can't be regenerate again and again. Sorry, remolded again. But when we talk about thermoplastic, they get easily softened, softened on heating, and they will easily get hardened on cooling. So we can remold them again and again. For example, we have polythene and PVC. So I'm repeating again. These examples should be here, and these examples should be here. Okay. So polythene and PVCs, PVC is thermoplastics, and bakelite and vulcanized rubber is a thermostatic plastic. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about another example. Okay. Okay, now based on chemical composition, so we have two types of polymers based on chemical composition. First one is organic and second one is inorganic, right? So when there is a long carbon chain present in a polymer, that is known as organic polymer. But when there is no carbon atom present in a polymer chain, that is known as inorganic component. For example, let's talk about PVC. Okay, polythene. So they have carbon in their structure. But when I talk about this silicon dioxide, there is no presence of any carbon atom. So silicon is inorganic atom, right? So what are organic compounds? Those contain hydrogen, carbon, and some heteroatoms, right? So inorganic, all the other remaining elements are known as inorganic elements, right? So that's how it will work. Next, we have some based on ultimate form. So we have elastomers. As we all know, what are elastomers? Girls must know it. They have rubber band on their ponytail, definitely. So whenever you stretch that rubber band, it will, and when you release the force, it will come back to its original shape. So that is elastomer, right? Rubber is elastomer. Then we have fiber. Fibers are many times, these are kind of thread-like structure. Fibers are like thread-like structures, and uh, 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 for example, we have nylon, we have cotton, we have wool. So these all are fibers. Then we have plastic. Plastic, you use plastic in your daily life, right? So your plastic chairs, your plastic tables, your plastic tiffin or anything, your plastic bottle. So these are very hard. Okay. Now, that's all about classification of polymers on different bases. Now we will talk about how we can determine the molecular weight, right, by using number average method. So we have two formulas. We just need to remember these two formulas. So first one is number average molecular weight, and second one is weight average molecular weight. So let's talk about first one. Okay. So let's suppose I have a question, uh, like, so let's suppose I have a question. For example, firstly, I'll talk about Mn, that is number average molecular weight, and its formula is summation I is equal to 1 to n, right? There might be n number of molecules. Okay. I'm really sorry for this inconvenience. Yes. Okay. So we were talking about this number average molecular weight. So the formula is NI over summation is equal to 1 to Ni. So here, what is N? N is number of molecules, right? N is number of molecules, and M is molecular weight, right? So N is molecular weight. So whenever we want to find out the number average molecular weight, what we will do, we will just put the value of N, that is number of molecule, and molecular weight, that is M, right? Now we have MW, that is weight average molecular weight, right? So for that, I have the formula like this. MW bar summation I is equal to 1 to n ni mi square over summation I is equal to 1 to n ni mi. Again here ni is the number of molecules and mi is the molecular weight, right? So now we will do some numericals on this. So this is the numerical for the number, average and weight, average molecular weight. The numerical is a polymer sample contains 10 molecules of molecular weight 1000, that is 10 raised to power 3, 100 molecules of molecular weight 10 raised to power 4 each, and 10 molecules of 10 raised to power 5 each. Calculate the number and weight, average molecular weight. So just we need to know the formula of the number average and molecular weight average. Okay, molecular weight. So Mn was N1 multiplied by M1 plus N2 multiplied by M2 plus N3 multiplied by M3. As we know, this is N1, this is M1, this is N2, this is M2, this is N3, this is M3. So that's how we will calculate the Mn, and that's how we will calculate the Mw. This is square. Okay, because the formula was mi square over ni into mi. So this will be the answer. So that's it. So that's how we will do the numericals. Now there's one more thing I need to tell you. We need to find out degree of polymerization. So for that, what is the formula? We just need to have, for example, dp. dp is degree of polymerization. For this I just need molecular, okay, number average molecular weight, or I need number average, sorry, weight average molecular weight, right? So I just need these two things, okay, over divided by molecular weight of the thing, right? Divided by molecular weight of the thing. Sorry for my drawing, but okay. So here it mo. Mo is molecular weight of, mo is molecular weight of that thing, right? For example, let's talk about, I have given you an example of PVC. Let's suppose, right? So I know that PVC's molecular weight is 62 point. Okay. So I have given you molecular weight. Molecular weight of PVC is 62.5, right? Now, let's suppose I have given you number average molecular weight. Let's suppose that's equal to 10 raised to power 6. Okay. Let's suppose I have given you number average molecular weight, that is NM. So number average molecular weight is 10 raised to power 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now you have to find the DP. So how you will find the DP? You will just, write down Mn divided by Mo, that is molecular weight, that is equal to 1,000,000 divided by 62.5, and the answer will be 1578. So that's how you can find out the degree of polymerization of a compound. So this was our first chapter. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed.